Welcome to KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. Today's video recipe, I have 4 simple objectives. The first objective is that this recipe has to be very easy to make. The second is that it has to be budget friendly. The third requirement is that it also works as a prep ahead or a freezer meal. And the fourth objective is that it can be made in the slow cooker so that you can have a nice hot meal when you come home. So the first set of instructions will be for the general method and how to bake it in the oven. And the second set of instructions will be how to do it in the slow cooker. So please watch to the end of the video. I'm really happy that I did achieve all 4 of these objectives with this delicious recipe that combines both a pizza topping and my easy nutrient-dense Italian-based meatloaf. So let's begin by making the pizza meatloaf first. The macronutrient ratio for the entire recipe, as it will be shown, is 2.1 to 1, with 7.2 grams of total carbs, 1.7 grams of dietary fiber, resulting in 5.5 grams of net carbs per serving. So let's now begin by making my pizza meatloaf. After assembling all the ingredients in the correct quantities, first preheat your oven to 370 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. The next step is to make the Italian meatloaf base. And to do this, you get a large mixing bowl to which you add the lean ground beef and medium ground pork. However, if you don't like ground pork or you don't eat ground pork in your diet, substitute with the same amount of ground beef. But if you don't have any restrictions to using pork, to achieve the full flavor of the Italian style for this meatloaf, use the ground pork because the 2 different meats, when combined, create a really nice complex taste. Next, add the tomato paste by brushing it over the meat. Spreading the tomato paste in this way will make it easier to ensure that the tomato paste is evenly incorporated. Then get your eggs, whisk them with a fork until they're well scrambled, and pour the egg over the meat. Distribute the finely chopped onion and sprinkle the grated Parmesan cheese over the meat. And also sprinkle the almond flour. Add the small pieces of green bell pepper, the dry oregano, the salt and the pepper, and also distribute the garlic. Now it's time to combine all the ingredients so that the meat is seasoned evenly. I find it best to do this by using my hands and start by folding from the bottom and pushing the meat upward, and then mash the meat together by squishing it through my fingers. Also take the meat from the sides of the bowl so that everything is moving towards the center. Keep repeating until all the ingredients have been well combined with the meat. I mentioned earlier that using both the ground beef and ground pork results in the best flavor. I came across this blend of meats when we were in Croatia. In the Croatian grocery stores, all the ground meat was a combination of these 2 types. At first I found this a little strange, but when I started using it, I realized that it really created a great blend and the flavor was amazing, especially for recipes such as my cevapcici, which are a cross between meatballs and mini hamburgers. So please check that out. The link will be provided below. Okay, now that we've worked the meat and all the ingredients are thoroughly incorporated, then all you have to do is choose a meatloaf pan. Here are a few different types. As you can see today, I'm using my square silicone pan. Because this type of pan is very floppy, remember to use a baking sheet underneath to support it. Using a baking sheet will make it easier to move the pan in and out of your oven. Then put the mixture into a baking dish of your choice and by gently pressing, level off the surface. And then set it aside for a moment as you make the pizza sauce. The first thing I do is pour the can of whole San Marzano tomatoes with all of its water into my bowl. Then mash the whole tomatoes with a potato masher. I don't recommend pureeing because what you really want is a somewhat coarse texture for the crushed tomatoes. Now add the olive oil and the confectionery sweetener, the Worcestershire sauce, the garlic powder, the chopped fresh basil. Give it a quick stir and add the tomato paste and stir very well until all the ingredients are well incorporated. Now pour the pizza sauce you just made over the entire surface of your meatloaf. Then sprinkle the grated mozzarella cheese on top of the sauce and arrange the pepperoni on top of the cheese, just as you would any other pizza. And be generous with the pepperoni. From this point on, you can add whatever other toppings you like on your pizza. Since we like olives, I'm going to sprinkle some black olive slices between the pepperoni. Make this pizza meatloaf your own and customize the pizza toppings to your taste, as you would your favorite pizza. Will make this humble dinner feel very treaty. After you've assembled your pizza meatloaf, place everything into the preheated oven and bake for 45 to 60 minutes. Remember, the cooking time will vary. It is very much dependent on the temperature of your oven and the pan you're using, so please adjust the baking time accordingly. You can determine that this pizza meatloaf is done when the center of the meat is at the medium well stage. And then take it out of the oven, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and cut into equal sections. And that's all there is to the oven method. Now for the slow cooker method. You do all the steps exactly as you did before, but the only difference is you assemble the entire meatloaf and then the pizza toppings right in the slow cooker liner. Then you can use your slow cooker either on high and cook for 4 hours, or place the dial on the low setting and cook for 7 to 8 hours. I also want to demonstrate what happened when I doubled the recipe for my slow cooker. When this slow cooker version was done after 8 hours, I first took out the meatloaf and placed it on a cookie sheet and broiled it in the oven at 420 Fahrenheit or 215 Celsius for about 5 to 6 minutes. This part isn't necessary. I just like my pepperoni to be nice and crispy. And after broiling, here is my meatloaf all done. And it smells really good. Now for a few FYI notes. I noticed that by doubling this recipe for my slow cooker, the meat to topping ratio was a little bit too much, and I actually preferred the oven method where the ratios were more even. This was still really good, but I really like the toppings as well, so I prefer the original recipe instead. If you do want to double the recipe, I would recommend that you get a pan that's twice the size, so that the ratio of meat to topping stays the same. And lastly, don't discard the fat that was left over in either of the oven method or your slow cooker method, because this is a really important part of the meal. First, you need the fat to drizzle over the meat when you're preparing each serving. This fat makes for a great dipping sauce that uses the flavored oil to enhance the flavor of the meatloaf. And also the fat drippings is part of the dietary fat as explained in the macronutrient ratio. Before I forget, you can serve this meatloaf nice and hot, or you can serve it at room temperature the next day for lunch. Now I'm ready to serve the dinner, and to make this into a complete meal, just take your pizza meatloaf and serve it with a nice simple mixed green salad. As I mentioned in objective number 3, I really like prep ahead and freezer meals. So here I'm putting 2 servings into my freezer safe container, which of course has been labeled. And these 2 servings will make for 1 complete meal for my husband and me. How many prep ahead freezer meals you have will depend on how many people you're serving per meal. You'll find that this pizza meatloaf is a very filling comfort meal, which I hope you'll find is very cost effective and easy to make. And when you do make it, I hope that you will enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching my video. Please forward this recipe to a friend or share it on your social media. This really helps my channel a lot. For your convenience, the link for this printable pizza meatloaf will be posted in the YouTube description below.